What's going on today, everybody? Hope you're having a fantastic day. I know that I am, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to tear into this Audi. We've got some problems, and I'll show you what we're going through, and then I'll explain a little bit later. So stay tuned, and we'll get back to working on this Audi. Now, this thing's been sitting for a minute, so I'm going to guess that the battery's dead. We'll try it. And look at that, deader than heck. So we'll go ahead, throw it on the charger real quick because I want to show you guys what the problem on this Audi actually is. Okay, so Audi update. The engine lost all the oil, came back, and the actual bearings were shot in it. Bearings were gone, a bunch of metal shavings in the bottom of it. Got a new engine, finally found one. They're very hard to find, the 225s. Got one here. Put it in, got everything switched over from the old one to the new one, got new gaskets, or valve cover gasket, and a couple other gaskets, rear main seal, stuff like that. Got that in, put the clutch in, put the transmission, put it all back in, and the car starts to smoke. So chalk it up to just some stuff in the lines, because it went away. It was really quick, and then went away. No big deal. So now we're a couple days later, we drive it, make sure everything's doing okay, and it's smoking really bad. Go to take off, really smoking, and then all of a sudden it clears up. Clears up, and then it's fine. So drive it around for a while, and then bring it back in. Test everything, compression test comes back fine. Test radiator, or the cooling system, pressurized cooling system, that tests fine. So then we're stuck with, well, what the heck's happening here? Going through a couple days later, maybe even a week later, we start up again, and it's smoking really bad. So comes out white, super white, which is usually head gasket, coolant getting in the system. But usually if it's coolant, it's always. Like the head's been warped, it's always. And then after about 5 minutes, it goes away. And then it goes into a blue smoke. Or very light blue smoke. So, I don't know what's going on with this thing. But we're going to tear into it. We got a whole bunch of new seals. And the main suspicion I have is probably the turbo. The turbo's probably blown, because that's from the old system. The old system ran out of oil, so the seals are probably shot in that turbo. Not sure if this one's coolant, if it's cooled by coolant or just oil. I know it has oil for sure. I think it has coolant, but I don't know. I can't say for sure without taking it out yet. It's a real pain in the ass to get out. Don't know for sure if it's a turbo or not. I know it's a pain in the butt to get out with the back. It's way easier to do it with the engine out of the car. Probably should have been done, hindsight, but here we are. So to get it out, since it might be coolant, I'm going to do the head gaskets. And another common place is the valve seals. So while we're in there, we're just going to do all three. Head gasket, valve seals, and rebuild the turbo. But first things first, we got to go ahead and get the head actually off of the car and on the workbench so we can work on it. So that's what the game plan is. This video, we're going to go ahead and work on taking that thing off and getting it out of the car so we can assess the situation. Compressed fine. The compression test came back fine. 180 across all four. Coolant passed. So all the cylinders looked okay. Nothing. Usually if it's coolant, you can just see it's like steam clean. Everything's nice and clean, no carbon, anything. All of them had carbon. Spark plugs looked okay. It's got new plugs in it. Who knows? So we're going to dig into this, get this thing out of here, start working on it. I don't know what to say about this car. I don't get what the problem is. The last time I drove it, it smoked so bad. It was like, you know those James Bond scenes where they put a smoke screen out? It was like that. You could not see behind you. I felt bad for the car I pulled out in front of. And that car was a ways back, and it still couldn't see. It was bad. And now we're out on this one, and it's not doing anything. Had a little bit of blue smoke, but that's it. I don't know what is going on with this car at all. Let's look at what the tailpipe is doing. It's got a little bit of smoke coming out of it. It definitely stinks. But like I said, I don't know what's going on with it. Do you fix it and hopefully that's the problem? Or, I mean, if anything, it's probably the head gasket, so I might as well just get into it and do the head gasket. Oh, there, now you can see a little bit. Oh yeah, now she's acting like it was before. Thing that sucks though is these have blue tinted mirrors, I guess. This one's not so much, but this one's blue, so it makes it really hard to see the oil if it's oil, but that's more like what it was doing before. Well, at least we were able to recreate part of the problem, and hopefully it's not too bad. Weird. Just weird. Now it's starting to act like it was before. That's aggressive. Hopefully. And then we don't have anything in the engine bay. Coolant level is coolant's still fine. I just checked the oil was fine. And it's a smoker. I don't know what to do about this thing. It's just not. Let's give it some revvies here. Oh yeah, we need to replace something in it. Well, now that we drove it around, got it all hot, we're gonna let it cool down a little bit before we start working on it. Job's a little bit bigger than I was remembering. Forgot you have to take the intake off. The exhaust side shouldn't be too bad. There's 3 bolts holding the turbo on, and then you can pull the exhaust off. The downpipe should be connected to the turbo will stay on. Your charge pipe, all your hoses on top. Here, let's look at it. Let's just take a gander. So the whole main goal is to get, this is your valve cover, get that off, but this metal piece down here, we need to get that part off. So that's your head. So charge pipe, obviously, all these hoses need to go away. That can probably stay. This is the job I forgot about. The intake has to come off, which hopefully we can get to all these little bolts that are way down in there. Take the fuel rail off, and the turbo should stay. The exhaust has 3 bolts that hold the turbo on. Those ones should come off. Yeah. First things first, we need to drain the coolant. We need to drain the oil. Get those out of the way, because when we pull this off, the coolant system, we don't want the coolant system going into the oil system. So we'll drain those, get those drained off, and start taking parts off. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this is probably a lot of our problem right here, because look at my finger. That's a lot of oil. So probably oil related, and this is right after the turbo. Turbo sits right over there. right down here. I think we got some problems. Well, made a little bit of progress, got a couple things out of our way. Most of it's coming out of the way. But the most surprising thing is I've taken the igniters out and I've taken our spark plugs out. Now, for oil or coolant, you'd see a little bit different story here. Those all look really not bad. I mean, if it's oil, they'd be black. If it's coolant, they'd be pretty much pressure washed. Nice and clean. So I don't know what to make of that. Maybe we'll take the bore scope back in and look at the cylinders, see if there's anything there. Okay, lots of progress. I've actually taken the fuel rail completely off. It makes it easier. Just 2 plugs over there. Be careful, you're gonna get fuel, get rag, and then all your injectors can just pull right out. But the biggest thing is I want to get all this dirt cleaned up before we get working on the engine. So before we pull this off, I'm going to go ahead, take a vacuum, clean up all this dirt around here. There's some up here. The less dirt in the engine, the better. So we'll go ahead and get that cleaned up and hopefully keep some of it out of the engine. Well, there it is. Made a lot more progress. Got the head off and nothing appears to be a problem. So turbo, you're coming out. Well, it's time to call it quits for the day. I'm kind of done. We got everything taken out. We've got our turbo kind of well disassembled. The head's all off. I don't see anything wrong with the valve seals, so we might skip those because they look like a giant pain to do. But we have them. They're here. It's out. I don't know. I'm going to sleep on it, so we'll figure that out. But turbo is out and getting ready to rebuild. So we'll go ahead and rebuild that, and we got a new head gasket for it. So 2 out of 3, it's not too bad. So anyways, yeah, hope you enjoy your day. I'm gonna get out of here, go have some dinner. Take it easy, everyone. Peace. A lot going on in there.